Fernando, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Uh, to start, I have gone to one of Jeff Goldblum's jazz shows before, and I think it is so cool to kind of see how he, not only brings his love of jazz to audiences, but also is continuing to share stories about jazz in his own way. When you were making this movie, was it always your intention to like include him in this and include him as the narrator?
Yeah, it was, but that's why when I was writing the screenplay, I called the character Jeff, hoping that he was going to like the screenplay when it was ready, and that he would like to do it. No,
Mhm.
so I was very lucky that he did. I love his voice. I love his playing. We did a movie together many years ago, but we've kept in touch, and from time to time, when he's in Madrid for some reason, or I'm in LA for some reason, we always find time to get together for dinner or going at his home or whatever, or at mine here. He's a good friend, and and I love his voice, and I love his music too. And uh, one thing that you can feel in his records is how generous he's always with the rest of the musicians and singers, etc. It's a very he's not an egomaniac. No,
Mm.
he's given uh, uh, space to the others. No.
Yeah. He's one of my favorites. I'm from the same city he's from originally. So like when I have always kind of like just loved Jeff Goldblum. But with the movie like this, it is so interesting too, like the format in which like that it is animated. I think that's a really cool kind of way to tell this because it takes the viewer out of like looking at the mechanics of the music and all that kind of stuff and you're focused just on the story being told. Did you always want to tell it through an animated form, or was that just something you kind of
No,
came?
it took me several years to to know how I was going to tell that story. I had uh, I did many years ago the investigation on Tenorio, and I record with small camera many interviews, almost 150 in several countries, mostly Brazil, Argentina, and the United States. And but I didn't knew what I was going to do, how I was going to proceed. So I keep making other movies, but always thinking what I'm gonna do with Tenorio project, how I'm gonna do it. So I think finally, uh, when I decided to make it into animation, I think it was the right choice for this story.
Yeah, and was there any challenges to choosing to do it in animation, or was that easier because then you weren't necessarily
No,
looking for actors who are also very talented musicians in the same
yeah,
vein?
no, for animation was not a challenge. Maybe it was for Mariscal, no, for the artist who was made the movie with me. For me, the challenge was more that I wanted to do a movie who is, I wanted to write it and tell the story in images in a very cinematic way, with the kind of style and strategy that I will use in a live action movie, in a fiction movie, but to keep that through the animation and through the and through and during the writing through the screenplay. I mean, I'm writing a screenplay as if I'm writing a fiction, only I'm using real material.
Mhm.
That was really a challenge for me, and what make it interesting to do it, not to do that work.
Yeah, and with a movie like this, I mean, what is always so fascinating about jazz is that it is constantly evolving and changing because it's supposed to be not improv, but it's supposed to be, listening to somebody else and like adapting to what they're playing. For you, is there anything you learned throughout this process about jazz that you didn't know before that you were kind of fascinated by?
You know, I'm always, I love jazz and I'm listening. There is no one day in my life where in which I don't listen to jazz. No, doesn't exist. This kind of I listen to other kind of music also, but jazz is always there. And I was now just walking 2 hours ago that I walk every day. I was walking to a great trumpeter that died very young and recently, called Ron Miles. No, that I love very much. I was listening to Ron Miles today. So every day I choose what I'm gonna listen. And people tell me, but you always you like so much jazz, but you always work with very close screenplays. And I say, yes, yes, because I like the screenplays who are very well written and constructed, because then you can improvise when you are making the movie, when you are directing. You can improvise with the camera, with the actors. You can find things. If you doesn't have a screenplay that you are 100% sure, then you can't do this other thing. So it's like for a jazz musician to have a theme, a standard or an original theme, and then you can flow. No, you can fly uh, on top of it. No, you can surf on top of it. But so yeah, why I'm telling this? So this is my jazz part when I'm making a movie is the directing, but never the writing.
Yeah, do you think that kind of your love of jazz helped you and like inspired you to want to make films? Because it is, like you said, a little bit like jazz in the sense that you have the things you have to do, but then everyone is kind of collaborating all together to tell this one story.
Yeah, I think jazz is always there. It's always there. It's always present for me. Is jazz is something that makes you feel younger. Doesn't matter how old you are, because you have to improvise. You have to to make the miracle happen every time. No, when you watch, for example, to make an example, Wayne Shorter playing when he was old, a couple of years before he died. No, and he's there, and he's like a master. All the musicians around him look at him as a monument of music, but he's still improvising, taking risk, uh, looking for some beauty, no? Who is not written, who is somewhere in the air, and you have to catch it, no? And I think that's great. I think when you are directing a movie, you have always to capture something that is in the air. Maybe it's just the look of an actor or of an actress. Maybe it's some accident that happened. Every time there is an accident during the shooting of a movie, my concern is how to integrate it. It's like I'm lucky that there was an accident. Let's see what you can do with it for the movie to make the movie better. No? And that's jazz.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for people to get to see the movie. I think they're really going to enjoy it.
Thank you.